What's shaking, everybody? Welcome to another Brand Doctor live stream. Today, we're going to be talking about teaching our clients how to treat us. And so I'm going to keep this in context of business, but you can use what I'm about to share with you today in your personal life just as much as your business life. And, over the past 15 years I've been in business, I've learned a lot the hard way and the easy way. And one of the things I truly believe that got me into a lot of trouble in the earlier days of my entrepreneurial career was not establishing my positioning as a subject matter expert up front and losing the trust and confidence in my clients, which led to poor client relationships and fallouts, chargebacks, refunds, things like that. And I don't want to see you guys go through that. So I'm going to throw myself under the bus today and share with you some of the things that I've learned over the years that have really helped me strengthen my client relationships and my personal relationships with people. Because that's the thing, guys. If we can't communicate clearly and with impact to people, then our business isn't effective. And today's live stream is going to share. I'm going to share with you how we can handle certain situations that may come up in your client relationship and teach you how to address them effectively where it's a win-win on both people's sides. So we'll get right into this right after this quick little message. If you're a business owner who feels your branding isn't truly representing the value that you deliver, check out this free video training that will help you level up your brand's messaging and online presence so that you can start attracting higher quality clients. Visit www.uniquedesignz with a Z at the end, not an S, .net/level up my branding. All right, so today we are talking about how to teach clients how to treat you. Okay, so one of the first things that I want to share with you is how to create and establish this position up front when somebody is in a price negotiation with you way in the beginning. Okay, so you have somebody that's trying to get you to come down on your price because they don't want to pay the full price. And I got to tell you the truth. There were times in the past where I would blow my steam because I felt like I was getting bullied or I felt like I was trying to get muscled or nickel and dimed. And some of those conversations didn't come out that well. I'll be the first to tell you. But some of them came out really well. And I learned a lot about myself and about the other person when I handled the situation the way that I did, later on in my career. And so instead of, getting defensive and getting taking it personal when somebody tries to come to you and say, can't you just do it for this amount of money? Like, come on, like everybody else is doing it for that price. All you have to say is, how do we do that? How do you think we could do that? And then just shut up, right? This puts all the weight back on them, and then they have to prove to you how they could do that. And you're probably going to get some answers like, well, just discount me the money, right? And then, you're going to have to know what to say. Well, if we descope the job, are you going to get the results that you really want? Is that going to hinder our goal here? So again, teaching people how to treat you. Again, it goes back to that old saying, you got to treat people the way you want to be treated. And I wish there was I wish there was an easier way. I wish there was, you could just wave a wand and that could happen. But things happen, tempers flare, feelings get in the way. Um, a ton of things can happen that could set you off, that could turn the whole client relationship into a disaster. And so, what I'm trying to get you to think about is when you get these clients coming to you trying to control the situation, control the engagement, you got to know how to handle that. You got to know how to handle that professionally, calmly, and be ready to frame up the conversation. We'll talk about that later on. But that's number one. Okay. Number two is if you really want to teach clients how to treat you, way in the beginning, you have to set those expectations up front. Okay. What do I mean by that? Well, you have to clearly identify your process. If they don't know what your process is and you don't know what your process is on the back end, things could get a little shaky. Things could get a little turbulent. I'll give you a quick example. Years ago, I took on a couple of more clients than that I should have, and I didn't have the processes in place to maintain the level of quality, and it bit me in the butt. And I wasn't clear on my expectations up front with the client, which led to problems on the back end, which led to projects that didn't go well. So really setting that expectation up front and letting them know your process, huge. What about laying down the terms of service? How clear are you when it comes to laying down your terms of service? Or do you have these willy-nilly terms of service that you never maintain or you never police? They're just kind of up there, but you never really enforce them. That's not doing you any good. That's not doing the client any good. You have to be very clear. This is what you're going to get with me, and this is what you're not going to get with me. Is that clear? Do you have any questions? And then move on. Next, do you know what you're actually promising your clients? This is something that I don't think people take serious enough, because when I ask people, okay, what are you promising here? What can you definitively guarantee? Now everybody's going to jump down my throat and say, you can't guarantee anything. People are going to start looking for guarantees, and that's where we're going to run into problems. You're right. You can't guarantee a lot of things. But the one thing you can guarantee is the experience that your customer or client has with you. You can guarantee that you could be responsive. You can guarantee that you can see the project through to the end. You can guarantee great communication. You can guarantee the things that you could control. You can't guarantee how their sales team is going to perform. You can't guarantee how they're going to be posting on social media, especially if that's not what you're assigned or engaged to do, right? You can't guarantee X amount of views. So be very, very clear on the promise that you are delivering to your clients, because that's what they're buying. They're buying your word, they're buying your integrity, they're buying your promise. This is why I don't call contracts or proposals. I call them promise agreements, because in that agreement, this is what I promise to you. And then I hold myself accountable. So be very, very clear on what it is that you promise. Now, here's my favorite. Okay. My favorite one of all on how to teach people how to treat you is to maintain your integrity. Maintain your integrity. And so, how do you do that nicely? I'll give you another funny story, or maybe not so funny. I have a hard time saying no sometimes, and I don't do a really good job of framing up that no. Sometimes it's just a hard no. And people ask me, well, why, Henry? And I'll give them the answer that my father used to give me all the time, because I said so. And that doesn't do well. Especially it definitely didn't do well with me as a kid, because I knew that was it, but I didn't have any explanation, and I didn't have any preface around why the answer was no. So I just went along with it and said, okay. And so that doesn't leave a good taste in somebody's mouth. The other side of this is, say you don't want to do something and you do it anyway. You go against your integrity. I'll give you an interesting example over the weekend. I had an experience where I knew it wasn't going to turn out well, but I was appeasing the other side. And I did it anyway. And both of our dogs got injured. Not good. So, how do you frame up a situation? How do you tell somebody no and do it in a way that's tasteful? Do it in a way of style. Well, let's take the dog situation real quick. I could have said, so and so, I love you to death, and I know you love your dog, and I know my dog, and I love my dog. And I know this isn't going to be a good situation because I know my dog well enough, and they don't do well with animals. He doesn't do well with other animals. So I'm not going to do this today. Okay? Still love you. Still want to see you. Still want to hang out with you. But your dog's not invited here anymore. And get on with my day. So you see how that frame just lightens the mood and it sets the expectation and keeps it real with the other person? So they know that, listen, this isn't something that I don't, well, how should I say this? It's not something that I am saying no to because I have an ill will towards you. That has nothing to do with it. I want to keep the situation safe. I know my dog better than anybody, and I know he doesn't like animals. So why would I put him in front of an animal that's similar in size to boot, which is probably number one problem or number one issue that you should avoid, especially if you're dealing with these types of dogs. So again, maintaining your integrity through framing the conversation. And so if somebody comes to you in business and says, I want you to do XYZ above and beyond scope. And you could say, I love you. I enjoy working with you. I've had a blast with you thus far. But I can't do that. And if they ask why, you could say, because we scoped out the project and this is what I promised to deliver. Anything over and above needs to be rescoped and be done with it. You don't have to explain yourself 1 ounce more. They may kick and scream. They may holler. They may be pissed for a while. But eventually we all get over it. And that's something that I want you guys to understand today. The way you treat other people is the way you're going to get treated. And what you tolerate from other people is what you are going to continue to get in your life. So you need to train people how to treat you. I'll give you another example. I was talking to, this was years ago, years ago. We were at a engagement party, and there was a few doctors there. And one of my friends went up to the doctor and called the doctor by his first name. And this doctor wanted the respect that he deserves. And he held himself to a standard where he always wanted to be called doctor and his last name. And so when my buddy went up to him and said, "Hey, Tommy," the doctor stopped him right there and said, "It's doctor and the last name." And he didn't make a fuss about it. He just course corrected the guy right then and there on the spot and got on with the conversation. And moving forward, that guy never called him Tommy again. He always addressed him by Dr. So-and-so. So what I'm trying to say to you guys is you have a level of integrity, you have a level of standard, and I wouldn't compromise it for anything. Because people, just like animals, I mean, listen, at the end of the day, we are creatures. And people sniff out the weak. Okay. I'm a big Cesar Millan fan. So when I watch Cesar Millan, he says, I test the animal to see how I test the dog out and see how well he is or she is when I put him against the pack. The pack will sniff out weakness in a second, and they will address that weakness immediately. It's the same with people, guys. The minute somebody says, "Can you do it for less?" and you say, "Sure," and you don't document that, now they're going to nickel and dime you the whole way through the relationship. I'm telling you. You may say, maybe you just give them a one-time thing. Yep. Try me. Try me. It's not going to happen. Listen, I'm not saying give away discounts. I'm saying give them away sparingly and give them away to people that deserve it. And always document it. Always document it so they remember why you did it and how they did it. Right? I always send an invoice for 0.00. And then I put the description of what I discounted or what I gave away for free. So they know it's a one-time offer. And then if they ever bring it back up, then you could say, "Hey, listen, here's what I did. It's all documented." That's what I'm talking about. So when you set that standard high up front, when you maintain that integrity up front, people are going to respect you more. You're going to be able to demand a higher fee. You're going to be able to position yourself better as a subject matter expert. People are going to be standing in line waiting for you to tell them what to do versus them telling you what to do. And here's a way that you can correct that. Say it does get out of hand. Say somebody is starting to try to, say a client is trying to take over the whole project, right? And become the director of the project. You can recalibrate the relationship in one line. And it's simply this. Got a question for you. Remember back when we first started working together? Well, why did you hire me in the first place? And didn't you just shut up and let them talk? Because then you're going to get a lot of information out of that. They're going to tell you why they're trying to control the situation. And then you can have a way more informed conversation with them. You could either apologize and say, "I'm sorry that this happened and this is how we're going to correct this. But believe me, your best interest is in my hands. And I will never do anything to interrupt or compromise the end result that you're looking to get out of this project." And that's how you teach people how to treat you. Maintain your integrity, set your expectations, set your standards high, and make sure that you frame the conversation. When you got to say no to something, make sure that you frame it in a way so the person understands where the no is coming from. And just remember, at the end of the day, you really don't have to get into the weeds about why no is no and why you're doing things a certain way. All you have to do is make sure that you have the credibility behind you and the logic behind you as to why you're doing what you're doing. It's happened 1,000 times. When I've done this correctly in the past with clients, they love me even more because they know how much I care and they know why I'm doing what I'm doing. And that's how you maintain a phenomenal client relationship. So imagine what your life would be if you were able to do this consistently inside of your business, where clients were coming on board and they knew exactly what they were getting themselves into. They felt confident in you from the beginning they signed on the dotted line until the day you finished that project with them. And they followed your lead every step of the way. What do you think your business would be like? What do you think your life would be like if that happened? You'd be in good shape, wouldn't you? That's what I teach my clients when I bring them through the Brand Accelerator program and I help them position themselves in ways that they never thought were possible. And then they build up this confidence in this position and it leads to more sales. Why? Because they feel more comfortable in their own skin and they have a plan of execution now. They're not going willy-nilly. They know exactly what to do, when to do it, and how to do it. This is what clients get out of the Brand Accelerator program. So what I want to do is introduce you to the first step of that, and that's booking a brand assessment with me, one-on-one. It's about 45 minutes to an hour, and you and I will sit down and really discover what it is that you're trying to do, what's getting in the way, and how I could potentially help you. And if I can't help you, I'll point you in the right direction so that you get the help that you need. So highly recommend you book that brand assessment so you can get unstuck from where you're at right now and really start to build a brand that you feel good about. That's working at the 12 cylinders that you want it to work at instead of the 6 or half speed that you're working at right now. So have an amazing day. Hope you had some great value out of this. Let me know what your biggest takeaway was out of today's conversation. You could drop it in the comments and I'll make sure that I get back to you right away. And I just want you to think of this. The quality of your brand is going to determine the quality of your clients. And the quality of your clients are going to determine the quality of your life. So how do you want them to treat you? Is how you need to set the tone. So expect to get what you accept. I'll say it again. Expect to get what you accept. So if you don't want to accept certain things, then set that standard and set that rule and set that expectation high. And you won't get it. So have an amazing day, guys. And we'll catch you on the next one real soon. Take care. That's